everyone. Welcome. Nice to everyone who has joined. We are now live. We are now live on Right Productions Instagram page, and of course, you're seeing in the frame our very own Kerry and Wright. I am the voice that will be your moderator this evening. My name is George Malcolm Walker. I am the man behind the scenes, the production man that you've been getting the content from all this time. And so essentially, I will be your moderator for this evening to walk you through this live as we go into episode 7 of the Kept for Keeps podcast. Kerry, would you like to say hi to everybody? Just give us a wave.
Greetings, everybody. So George has fully taken over, and we do have your questions. So George is going to get into it as we talk about from fearfulness to fearlessness.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kerry. I just see some persons jumping on right now. Thank you so much for joining. I know persons will be joining throughout. It won't be very long. We'll just be discussing this topic real quickly. And of course, we're looking out for your questions. We're looking out for any sort of comments that you have. We'll be taking those throughout the time, all right? So, Kerry, you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Yes. All right, good. All right, guys, feel free to just send your comments and questions throughout. So, we've been going through a number of topics through the time here on the Kept for Keeps podcast. And so we're now at the point where we're looking at fearfulness to fearlessness. Now, Kerry, you have to tell me in your own words, what does that mean? Tell us.
Well, for me, what it means is that I am one who has, for majority of my life, struggled with being afraid. From being afraid of the dark, to being afraid of dogs, to being afraid of people, to being afraid of success, and to be afraid of failure. So it's just fear. And the fearless part of it, thank God for Jesus. Who has, as I develop my relationship and get deeper with my relationship, I'm able to make bolder steps. I'm not going to tell you that, I just jump from being afraid of a dog to hugging up dog. It takes a process. And even starting this podcast is a huge step for me in terms of overcoming what I'm afraid of, which is being seen, and everybody's the center, and people looking at me and have comments and things to say. So thank God for Jesus.
Thank you so much for that, Kerry. So it sounds like, Kerry, you've been seeing the other side of fearfulness, and now this fearlessness, you're seeing almost like some results. You're hearing comments, you're hearing feedback. Tell me some of the ideas, the thoughts that people have been sharing with you since you stepped into this fearlessness side.
A lot of persons have reached out to me, and primarily what they're saying is that, wow, how did you start? I've always wanted to start, whether a vlog, persons wanted to start their own podcast, they wanted to start their own show, they wanted to just start a new job. And they're saying, how did you do it? And I'm like, I did not get up overnight and just did it. It took a process of working, because the prophecy came a long time. The word from the Lord came a long time. And I'm like, no, nobody's going to watch it. And now I have 125 subscribers on YouTube and over 130 on Instagram. And, I was just so fearful that nobody would want to hear what I have to say. And so it takes a process through prayer, fasting, meditation, and just repeating what the Lord has said. And He has not given me a spirit of fear. So I have to repeat that over myself, speak that over myself, so that, listen, I'm not living in this spirit of fear.
Wow. Okay, some heavy stuff. I see more persons joining, and thank you all so much for joining. Just reiterating, we're in episode 7 of the Kept for Keeps podcast, and we're looking at fearfulness, the fearlessness. So far, Karen Wright has been telling us about her journey into this new fearlessness, and so we want to even delve a little bit deeper, Kerry, because it seems to me that fearfulness was something that was with you for a long time. It was like to high school, maybe even post high school, until somehow now there's something else you are seeing in your life. So tell me a little bit more about the fearfulness. Like what really happened during that time in your life, that fearfulness time?
Most of what happened was nothing. Because I was afraid, I don't do nothing. So I would want to join certain teams. I would want to speak up for myself in debating. I would want to, I wanted to join the track team in high school, but I was afraid that I wasn't good enough. And so a lot of nothing happened. And that I've found is a result of fear. I've wanted to go ziplining. It looks fun, but I'm afraid that I'm gonna fall and the thing going burst and I'm gonna die in the bushes, and so I've not done it. I'm afraid to swim because I'm afraid I'm gonna drown, so nothing happened. I am afraid of being judged and ridiculed, and so I dress a certain way because I don't want a wardrobe malfunction. And so a lot of nothing happened, and so I did not get a chance to get to know me, to understand who I am and walk in that, because I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm gonna fail, so I don't do it. I'm afraid to get into a relationship, so I don't. And so a lot of what fear causes is nothing.
Wow. All right. I know personally I can relate, and so I imagine other persons as well online could relate, where you realize, as you just said, Kerry, that a lot of the times it's nothing.
Nothing.
It's nothing. So you think it's more like a thing of the mind, Kerry? It's almost like we're creating some of these fears sometimes. Like tell me a little bit more where you think this fear is coming from.
So the fear, where it comes from a lot, is what you hear, what you see.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just wild thoughts of the mind. What I mean, what you hear, so for me, you hear that, no, so you're not go to university, because bright people go to university. So I become afraid of trying to go to university because I feel like I'm not bright enough. That's what was said. I've seen people go to university and they don't do well. So I'm afraid that that's going to happen to me. I'm afraid of, you watch the news and you hear how much road accidents. I not learn to drive because I don't want to crash. And you see the news and you say, oh, X amount of cars being stolen, houses being broken into, all these things. I don't want a car because I don't want to lose my car. But you have to understand that when you walk with Christ long enough and you get into relationship with him, you get his mind. And you get the mind of God. God created us in his own image and likeness. God, from what I know of God, what I've read in the Bible, God not afraid of nothing. So God said, this is what I want, and I do it. And because I have the mind of Christ, I have to tell myself, so listen, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to learn to drive. Listen, when I was to do my driving test, I was afraid. And let me tell you, community is good. You need a community to help you to process and work through some of these fears. I swore I was never going to pass the test. I swore I was never reverse parallel what? What? And then you hear a lot of people say, oh, 3, 4, 5, 6 times I went and I didn't get, and I this and I that, and you just feel, oh my God, the hill start. And so because of what you hear and their experience, you kind of take that on. But I had to stand up and say, no more my license. And so I'm going for it. But even though I went and I was still afraid, so I reached out to my community. And, like, Carrie, what 2 things? 1, if you fail, it's okay. And it doesn't mean that because X amount of people failed, it means that you are going to fail. So this is something that I have to keep reminding myself that, listen, God didn't fear anything, and he did not give me a spirit of fear, because he made us in his image and likeness. And the fact that his word has said he has not given us a spirit of fear, it means he never make with it. So why am I going to take on something that I wasn't made to it? So those are some of the things I have to constantly keep telling my mind and put in my thoughts. The Bible says you take every thought captive and put it subject under the authority of Jesus Christ. And I saw him make way fearless. So you fearful thought about that coming on live and yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. So whatever you have to do it anyway, through prayer and fasting, and just understand that you are made fearless.
Wow, Carrie, some heavy stuff, some heavy and deep stuff. I don't know about the people online, but I am learning a lot. I'm benefiting from these experiences. Of course, reminder to just sending your questions, sending your comments as we continue here. So, Carrie, one of the things we know about you is that you are in the dramatic arts.
Yes.
Yeah. So for a lot of people, Carrie, being on stage is one of the most fearful thing. So tell me, how did that even happen? And were you always fearless to be on stage in drama? Or tell me, was it different at the start?
Joel Miller will tell you, before a performance, I am a nervous wreck. Me? Nervous. If me follow myself, I don't bother go on stage. True. So, as I said before, community is important. Very important, because guess what? And then, it don't matter what anybody tell you. Me have to do the work. So before a performance, I'm very nervous. And nerves is not always a bad thing, because being nervous or fearful at times humbles you. So, know that by myself, I am not good enough and I'm not strong enough by myself. So because I'm not good enough and I'm not strong enough all by myself, I have to plug back into the source who made me. So I have to go back to prayer and tell myself I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And before many performances, after I have the pep talk from Joel and, everybody who is in my inner circle, I have to get up and declare over myself that I can do all things through Christ. And what I'm doing is bringing glory to Christ, because Him gave me this gift. So He'll strengthen me to show off what He gave me. So that is.
But Kerry, if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is that after all these times we've seen you on stage, award-winning actress, multiple award-winning actress, local, international, regional, you name it, you're telling me that this wasn't all your strength. We might see the talent on stage, but you're saying there's something else more behind it.
God Himself. God Himself. On the last episode or the episode before, I shared that I didn't get up from a child knowing, I'm an excellent actress. I didn't know I could act. But the gift was revealed to me when I got an opportunity to just random. And then I realized that, hey, something is happening here. So I remember when I was at Talawa 2019, the year I won Best Actress. Before the performance, I was like freaking out backstage. And I remember I called, a friend, Tanya, and Tanya was like, Tanya, I'm so nervous. Are you coming? I want you to come. I want support. And then she's like, I'll come back on Sunday and watch you at Best of Talawa. Hear me with my fearful self. But at the best, go up on Best of Talawa. And she's like, yes.
Yes.
And you are the best. And right away, something on me like, God, if you say I am the best, give me what it takes for you to be revealed that I am going to win Best Actress and be on Best of Talawa. That was a huge thing for me. So, and I prayed. Listen, I prayed. And person see me and thought I was rehearsing my lines. I was praying because what? So it's not me.
It seems as well, Pierre, that on the other side of fearfulness is a sort of joy, is a sort of rewarding experience that you've been experiencing clearly. So tell us, is there something that if you could talk to your younger self, Kerry, that fearful person living in fearfulness, what would you be saying to that younger person?
I would say to her, it's not about winning. It's not about coming first. It's not about being recognized. It's not about being perfect. It is about doing something that you know is important to do, that you are called to do. Yeah, do it. And that's the victory. That is the victory. Because let me tell you, God is a God of excellence. God don't make nothing when well done. And if we think it well done, I saw him didn't want it stay. He never forget the formula to make us. He never forget the formula to this. He never forget the formula to create the earth. I saw him want it, and so it is so. So, if you listen, Lama could have learned to swim. I mean, how much air hole now, and I cannot swim. But guess what? I'm gonna learn to swim this year, and I'm gonna take you a little on the journey when I begin.
Yes.
That I'm gonna overcome that fear. So I would tell my younger self, do it. That is the victory. And guess what? Once you have life, you can do it again. So if you never get the result that I wanted, I can do it again. Because I'm alive. And I know of information that can, make me improve. But the key to it, this is what the Lord says. Start the podcast, give it this name, and that me do. I had names before, but him said this name, and I'm like, this name is a tongue twister, and nobody's gonna catch the name, and God said, no, this. So I said, all right, this is it. So I do it. That is what I would tell my younger self.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay. You've been sharing a lot this evening. This is some good quality stuff. Beneficial, I believe, for any person at any age group, whatever stage they're at in their life. We have about roughly 10 minutes or so more on this live. So again, feel free to send in any question you have regarding the topic that we're on this evening, which is from fearfulness to fearlessness. All right. So here we have to ask this one before we get out of here. Is this a facade, Kerry? Are we just faking it till we make it? Or is it something that is real? Because tell us if it's something more than that. This is fear we're talking about, and how we move into that fearlessness level. Is it something else behind it that we need to pay attention to?
Alright, let me tell you. Being fake is a lot of work. No, man. No, like me, lazy. And to fake it and to put on a facade, to pretend about, no. People tell you my heart is on my sleeve. So you ever see it. You're going to see the fear, you're going to see whatever. I don't have time to fake it. And I realized that if you look at the world we're living in, life's short. And I've spent so many years doing nothing. And listen, there was a point when I have assignments to do, I'm just afraid that the assignment is going to be done too well. So I don't do it well because I'm afraid it I go too well. I'm afraid to get an A. That sound like something makes sense? But guess what? At the same energy I'm putting into not getting the A, I could have put the energy in getting the A. So for me, I have decided there's something that make no sense. Absolutely no sense at all. And so, I'm not telling you something I feel a little nerves and deep fear. But guess what? I pray, I meditate, I read my Bible, because guess what? Everything in life is in the Bible. Anything you're going through, there's something recorded in the Bible that is similar to what you're going through. Pastor Trudy would always say, locate yourself. So sometimes I go on Google and I'm like, I need a decision about this. And there's a scripture that come up. And then I locate myself and I pray and I meditate from that. But me decide, say, I've been alive too long. I'm always saying, like everybody will know me always, I'm old. And I really believe that I'm old. And I've not done a lot of things because I'm afraid, and it may not make no sense. Why I can't get the first class honors? Because I'm afraid to get the first class honors. Why? I'm afraid to learn to drive. Why? I'm afraid to leave home at certain why? It don't make no sense. And so I had to make a conscious decision that I'm not going to live doing nothing again. I'm going to start dance classes. I'm supposed to start dance classes from when? Because guess what? Y'all know some dance, right? From the last video. I was the best dancer, right? But guess what? I'm going to learn to dance and perfect that. So, I don't have anything to lose. And that is the mindset. And as I said before, I have to understand that, listen, God did not make me with any fear. So I go back to him and I say, God, make me no fear and I'm feeling afraid. Give me the strength. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Yeah. Well, Kerry. All right. So you're touching on some heavy stuff, that I think are life transforming for so many persons. And I think that this is probably the last question I'll have for you as we just get into the final sections of this live. We started out by looking at what this really meant to you, because it seems like there's a certain glow about you living in this newfound fearlessness that apparently came through Christ.
Yeah, man.
Came through the confidence in him. You have to tell us a little bit more about that, Kerry. How do we get to that point of fearlessness? Tell us about that.
When I just really and truly gave my life to Christ, I was afraid. Mm-hmm. Because even though I know my life was not anything that it should be, I was afraid that what is my life going to be like as a Christian? I remember I went through a season that, listen, when I just got saved, I went to church for 1 year straight. Every single solitary Sunday me there at church. Every Wednesday at Bible study. Every Saturday at women's meeting. Everything I keep about church, I'm there. And a piece of fear gripped me one time, and I'm like, I'm not come back to church because I just come to church so much, and I'm getting too deep in my relationship with God. I'm reading the Bible too much. I'm praying too much. I'm worshiping too much. I'm seeking godly counsel too much. I stop do all the things that I used to do. I'm trying to change some of the things that I used to think about and some of the music I used to listen to.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid of getting into this. I don't want God to use me too much because I'm afraid. And I had to just... It took a while of pruning. When the Bible tells you to kill flesh, and them is something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because God tell me say I'm a royal priesthood.
Yes.
I'm a holy nation, and so God tell me. So the Bible tell me. The Bible told me that I'm fearfully and I'm wonderfully made. Why am I afraid of that? The God who made me, that him say. So why am I afraid of being what I was created to do? It took a process. It took a process of praying, fasting, worshiping, godly counsel. Listen, all of those are very important, and those are some of the things that I use at the beginning and using now and overcoming this fear.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Kerry, you really had blows for 6 this evening in terms of just the journey that you did to from fearfulness to fearlessness. I think it's a real testimony of God's work in your life. I think it's a beautiful example of how God can really just change our whole story. And it's amazing to hear you say that you even want to go further in being fearless and take on new challenges, take on new stuff. Yes, more dance lessons.
That's right.
Lessons, you name it, you'll be a part of it. Leave us with some encouragement, Kerry, as we wrap this night's episode.
Alright. So I just want to encourage everybody who is listening to this that listen. Sometimes your mind is lying to you. Bare lie. Bare lie, bare foolishness. You have to go back. The Bible, Pastor Andrea McCurdy always says the Bible is a manual. The manufacturer, God, gave us the manual. Anything you have as a manual, it tells you what the manufacturer expects. So you have to go back to the manual. The manual of your life is not what your cousin and your mother and your father and the neighbor and even social media, the life that some people live it. That does not define who you are, because those things create a fear inside of you and this and that. Find out from the manufacturer, what do you want from me? In Psalm, I think it says, the secret of the Lord is with those who love him and honor him and fear him. Right? And as a godly fear we're talking about, it's not like, oh my God, I'm afraid of you. It's about, you met me, so I want to please you. I want to understand what you have to say about me. So the secret of the Lord has to do with your specific being. So seek him, and him will answer you. He will. He will. So I just want to encourage you to silence the voices and the thoughts of other external influences and internal influences, and run the race that God set before you fearlessly.
Fearlessly. Fearlessly. I love that, Kerry.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Kerry, and thank you everyone online so much for joining us. Thank you all for being with us for this first live, this episode 7, where we explored the topic of fearfulness to fearlessness. Kerry, it's been nice having you, nice hearing from you, nice to hear your story and your journey. It's amazing. We'll look forward to more of these in the future. But thanks again, Kerry. We're going to be signing off for tonight. Let me just give Kerry the final words. I should tell you where you need to subscribe and like and just to stay in touch with everyone as we wrap.
All right, let me just put this in. George Malcolm Walker, thank you. Thank you for when Macaulay and said the Lord said no, and George said, all right, let's go. What is it? Thank you, George. If I begin to tell you thanks, we're not done the live. But follow George at Edgelight Media, yeah, on Instagram and all over. I'm gonna post this thing very after this. But thank you so much for joining, everybody. Thank you for being a part of the live. Remember to like, please subscribe to the YouTube channel Right Productions 876. Like the Instagram page Right Prod JA, and I am on TikTok now.
Yes.
Just started on TikTok.
Yes.
And it's Right Productions 876 on TikTok. Share it with your friends. You can always message me. I'll talk to you. Anything you want me to pray for you, whatever. Just reach out. This is what we're here for. So blessings. Have a good evening. Thank you for joining.